This week's parasha, Parashat Korah. So sometimes you hear a Dvar Torah that opens up your eyes to a whole different world of meaning behind the parasha. There's many midrashim that you hear in different places, and all of a sudden, if you can put them all together and put the themes together, you get a much richer understanding of what's actually going on. So I had actually Zahud, I listened to a shiur of Rabbi Khan this week that just opened up my eyes, and in one of these cases in this week's parasha, to awesome ideas. So I want to speak about the parasha, Parashat Korah, and the great rebellion of Korah and his followers against Moshe Rabbeinu, against Aharon, and what's really going on behind the scenes. And in particular, I want to speak about the famous midrash of Eshet On ben Pelet, the wife of On ben Pelet. Okay, here's what's going on. Starts off the parasha. Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kehat ben Levi v'Datan v'Aviram ben Eliav v'On ben Pelet ben Reuven. So there's this whole group of people that get together. Korach from Levi, Datan Aviram and On ben Pelet from Reuven, Vayakumu lifnei Moshe v'anashim mibnei Yisrael 50-200 nesei edan, and 250 people, Kirei Omoed Anshe Shem, great important people. They come, and these 250, along with Korach, Datan, Aviram, and On, they all get together. Vayikahalu al Moshe v'Aharon, and they come out to rebel against Moshe and against Aharon, and It's not so clear who's the main target. Is it Moshe? Is it Aharon? Do they all have the exact same motives? It seems, it appears from a lot of the commentaries, they had different motives. Is it Moshe? Is it Aharon? What are they really looking for? Do they want to be Kohen Gadol? Do they want to be the exact leader of the Jewish people? Seems to be a bit of a machlok over there of what exactly is going on amongst them. But it seems like it's all the people that are dissatisfied with where they're holding in life. Vayomru alehem, and they say to them, Rav lachem, they say to Moshe and Aharon, Rav lachem ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim, uvtocham Adonai, madua titna'asu kal Adonai. And they say, I don't understand. Don't you guys have enough? What's the deal with you guys, Moshe and Aaron? Aren't we all holy? Why are you guys on top of us? Why are you guys in charge? Can't we all be in charge? Can't we all be holy? Why do you make yourself so great? We should all be great. We should all be in charge. And ultimately, Moshe is gonna fight back against them. He's gonna say to them, Rav lachem b'nei Levi. Isn't it enough that you guys are Levi'im? He's talking about Korah and Korach's family over here. Don't you guys have enough going for you over here? And then he's gonna try to speak to Datan and Aviram from Reuven, but they're not gonna want to speak to him. And then ultimately, a great disaster is going to happen. The land is going to open up, swallow up some of the people rebelling. It's going to burn up other people rebelling, and basically all the people that lead the rebellion against Moshe and Aharon are going to be destroyed. Now the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Kuftet Amud Bet, as well as in the Midrash Rabbah on our parasha, they pick up on something interesting. So we had this rebellion. We have Korach from Levi, and then we have these three guys from Reuven, Datan, Aviram, and On ben Pelet. But as the rest of the story goes on, and Korach ultimately dies, Datan and Aviram ultimately die, the 250 people ultimately die, On ben Pelet is totally missing. So what happened to On ben Pelet? Why is he not part of the rest of the story? Where did he go? So says the Gemara, Amarav, says Rav, On ben Pelet ishto hitzalto. The wife of On ben Pelet saved him. How? So it tells the backstory. Amri, she said to her husband, she goes, "My nafkalan mine, what do you gain from this? Why are you part of this rebellion? Why are you joining the Tan Aviram? Why are you joining Korach? Imaraba antamida, imaraba antamida. If and it sounds like over here, if Moshe would be victorious, you're going to be his student, and if Korach wins out, you're going to be the student of Korach. So you're not going to be in charge. It's either going to be Moshe or it's going to be Korach. If you look at the Midrash Rabbah over there, it's interesting. There it says either Aharon Cohen is going to win, or Korach's going to win, but you're still not going to win. So again, this whole concept, is it a war against Aharon? Is it a war against Moshe? It seems to be a bit of both, and it could be that each individual player has a different person they're going out against. Do they want to be Kohanim Gedolim, or do they want to be Moshe Rabbeinu's? And it could be there's a little bit of machloket, even between the Bavli and the Midrash, about who the actual main target is, but it seems both of them are being targeted. But she's telling her husband, you're not going to win. You're not going to be Moshe. You're not going to be the Kohen Gadol. It's not going to happen. So he tells her, Amalai, he says, what am I going to do? I already was part of their whole discussion. I already had a whole, I swore to them that I would be with them. So if they come to get me, how can I say no to them? So she responds to them, she goes, listen, Yadana dakula kenishta kadishtan. I know those people are very holy people. They're, I know it's going to be hard for you to not go with them. These are special people. They're people in charge. They're holy. They're kadosh. But she says to him, listen, Tuv, turn around, go back, and I'm going to save you. And she says as follows. She gives him wine, makes him drink. She makes him be drunk, so he's stuck in bed. He can't go anywhere. So if they even want to take him, he can't because he's in bed drunk. And then she goes and she sits outside of the tent, sits right outside of their home, and she uncovers her hair, which we know from its new perspective, a married woman keeps her hair covered. And when she uncovers her hair, anybody, now in the Midrash, it's actually her and her daughter do this. And the Gemara goes on that when the people from Korach's members came to bring On ben Pelet, so they saw that her hair was uncovered, it's not Sanua. These are holy people. Yeah, they're waging war against Moshe and Aaron, but they consider themselves holy. And it seems to be that at least the intention of the 250, according to many opinions, was L'Shem Shamayim. They were wrong. It was evil. There was something wrong inside. But from their perspective, they really thought they were holy. So all of a sudden they walk by and they see her with her hair uncovered. We can't be next to her. She's not a holy woman. She's an immodest lady. And once this all is happening, he's sleeping drunk and they're walking away from her, she saves On ben Pelet's life. He doesn't die. What a woman. The Gemara then goes on to say that Korach's wife is the exact opposite. Korach's wife's talking to Korach, and she goes, "Look what Moshe's doing. He's a king over all of us. What's it worth? You don't understand. He's king. He makes his brother high priest. Like, what's going on over here? They're all in cahoots with each other. It's all one family taking care of themselves. Even though Korach's a cousin as well, and Korach's from the tribe of Kehat, he has a very important role of carrying the kelim. But no, it's not enough." She's saying to him, "Look at this, it's not fair." And they're going to share the truma with each other. They're going to make money off of this over here. And then she says, "Look at him." And she says, "Look. And look at how he makes fun of you. He made you guys all shave your head. Because if you go back to Parashat, if you go back to the earlier on in Bamidbar, it speaks over there about when the Levi'im switch the jobs of the Bechor and they become the people that are serving in the temple, playing the music. There's a whole process that takes place. Part of the process is that they shave off all of their hair, every part of it. And she goes, "Look, you have no hair. He's making a busha and cherpa of you. He's making fun of you." And it's actually, and there actually Korach responds to her and says, "No, what are you talking about? Moshe's a Levi too. He also shaved his head, and he also shaved his hair. So if he's really trying to make fun of me, he's making fun of himself." She goes, "No, conspiracy theory. He's so smart. He's shaving himself. He's shaving you. He's shaving everybody just so he could be on top of you." And ultimately, Korach listens to his wife, and here the Gemara says that look at the power of On's wife who saves his life as opposed to the power of Korach's wife, who ultimately helps lead to his total demise. And that also might explain why in the Torah all of Korach's family is dying. Like you wonder, like, why is his wife dying too? What did she do wrong? So it seems to be that this Gemara and this Midrash are filling in the blanks of what really took place over here. It's also interesting. We'll get back in a second to the whole hair idea of why is On ben Pelet's wife uncovering her hair, and then we see over here that Korach's wife is saying to him, "Look, you have to shave off your head." The word Korach literally means bald. So she's saying to him, "Look, he made you bald. You have no hair. He's getting rid of your hair as a busha." And then we have over here the case of On's wife uncovering her hair. Also, we see this hair thing, this hair motif happening throughout the story. So that's the famous stuff. Now here's the deeper stuff that Rabbi Khan added in his shiur that shows the bigger picture of what's really going on. He says if you go back a couple of weeks ago to Parshat Ba'alotecha, and we have the story of the people complaining. And the parasha over there is speaking about the asafsuf. And it says the asafsuf, this riffraff come along and they're hitavu ta'ava, and they're starting to create desires. What are these desires that they want? It says they want meat. And it says, Vayishma Moshe ta'am bocher mishpechotav. And Moshe heard the people crying over their families. And Rashi comes along and he brings down, he says, what's going on over here? These ta'avas, they're crying, what's going wrong over here? And he explains that they were upset about the arayot. They wanted to do sexual immorality, but they can't. We have the Torah. We have all the rules that they got at Mount Sinai not too long ago. And it's like, no, they don't want. And we said part of the sin in Ba'alotecha is that when they finally leave Har Sinai, they leave too quickly. Like, oh my God, we have too many mitzvot, too many things. And there's a certain desire over here for arayot, for immorality. And that was part of what they were upset about. They had this part of them that wanted to rebel in this area. And we know this concept of immorality is in behind some of the bigger sins we've had in our history. We had the same thing happened with in times of the Egel HaZahav as well. And this immorality is behind the scenes. Now, if you go back to the Midrash by us, so they're all complaining about Moshe Rabbeinu. These 250 men are getting together against Moshe. What do they want against Moshe? Is it just power? What was their actual complaint? So says the Midrash that Melamed, Amar Yohanan, Melamed shehashduhu be'eshet ish. They were suspicious that Moshe Rabbeinu was with other women. Like, what a wild story. Moshe Rabbeinu, the holiest person ever, he's the biggest anav, he's the leader, took him out of Egypt, did all the miracles, and now they're saying, they're suspicious, Moshe is sleeping with their women. Like, what in the world is going on over here? Especially because if you go back to Balotecha, we have the end of the parsha over there, where Moshe Rabbeinu separates, according to the Midrashim, from Zipporah, and that's what Miriam is complaining about. Moshe, how could you do that? But you see, Moshe himself is totally separating himself from women. Well, now they're coming out and saying, oh my God, he's sleeping with our wives? What in the world is going on over here? And if we realize that one of the main players here is one of the two main players are Datan and Aviram, and we remember we spoke about in previous recordings, who was Datan and Aviram? Datan is the guy that Moshe Rabbeinu saved from the Egyptian. Who was trying to kill him? Why was the Egyptian beating him back in Mitzrayim? Because the Egyptian had snuck in and slept with his wife. So Moshe is not the guy that slept with your wife, it's the Egyptian, and Moshe killed the Egyptian and saved your life. There's some major psychological damage over there. But what's really going on over here? Datan and Aviram are the problem. The Asaf Suf are the problem. It's their Yetzer Hara. But look at how people take their own Yetzer Hara and put it on the holy person, put it on Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe has the issue they have. Moshe is the exact opposite. He's separated from his wife. But no, they choshed him be'eshet ish. Where is this coming from? So if you look at the Midrash later on, we're going to find that later on we're going to have the story in Parshat Pinchas of Benot Tzlofchad. Tzlofchad's daughter love the land of Israel, and they're going to cry and cry, please Moshe, give us land, give us nachala. We love the land of Israel. They're holy, holy people. And in Midrash Rabbah in Parshat Pinchas, it brings over there on Benot Tzlofchad, this is in Perek Kaf Aleph Siman Yud, so it says that in that generation in the desert, the women, they were much holier than the men. Wherever the men messed things up, they fixed it. And he says you find this over and over, because you find, he says the Midrash, that by the Egel HaZahav, it was the men that grabbed the earrings off the ears of the women. Again, if you look at the Pshat Pesukim, this is not so clear. But according to the Midrash, the men come along, pull off the jewelry against the women. They didn't want to sin over there. So says the Midrash, Vanashim lo nishtatfu b'imahim b'maseh egel. They weren't part of the sin of the egel. V'chen b'meraglim, and he also they bring some proof from the Pesukim that with the sin of the spies, they also weren't a part of it, and they weren't punished. And it's really only the men over the age of 20 that had to die, but the women didn't. The women weren't part of the sin. And this says now we have it by Benot Tzlofchad as well. Look at how holy they are. So the women are holy. Moshe is holy. The men are not. And now come along the men. The men say, oh, it must be that our women can't be so much better than us. They can't be so much holier than us. Look at them. They're probably sleeping with Moshe Rabbeinu. They're probably all in cahoots with each other. They're not dying with the egel. They're not dying with the meraglim. It doesn't. But it's the exact opposite. The women are holy. The women are saving things. But the men are choshed. They're choshed Moshe. They're suspicious of Moshe. They're suspicious of their wives. Now comes along the genius of Eshet On. On's wife was a genius, and here's what Rabbi Khan said, unbelievable. She sits outside and uncovers her hair. What does uncovering your hair remind us of? There's one halacha that requires somebody to uncover their hair. It's the halacha of the sotah. If a woman is seen as adulterous, the husband is worried and he's jealous of his wife. Here also this concept of jealousy. They're jealous of Moshe. The same words are being used. The husband is jealous of his wife. So there's the whole process of a sotah, where part of the process is that the wife's hair gets uncovered if she's accused of secluding herself with another man. She uncovers her hair because she's making a statement. I'll go through the sotah test. I'm not guilty. I'm pure. Uncovers her hair. You want to test me? You guys don't trust me? Here it is. I'm going through the test. But they're with their corrupted eyes. They're so holy. They're so holy. They see themselves as so holy. They see her uncover her hair. They say, we knew it. She's a sotah. She's immodest. She's part of the immorality. Even though we saw from the Asaf Suf, we saw from the Egel, it's the men that are the ones that have these desires. They're the ones that are hitavu ta'ava. They're causing all the problems. But they're covering it up, and they're suspicious of the women. So her uncovering her hair is a statement. Look at me. You want to test me? I come out clean. But they look at it as, oh no, look, she is a sotah. She is the adulterous one. Genius on her part, maybe a little bit of an averah lishma because she's uncovering her hair, but she saves her husband's life, and we see from the Midrashim, she's a superhero. It's unbelievable. So Lanu Dati, I was thinking, if this is really what's going on behind the scenes, maybe we could take it a little bit further. In the Torah, the section of the Sotah is right next to the section of a different halakha known as the Nazir. The Nazir is another story about hair. What's the story of the Nazir? So the Gemara, actually also, the section of Sotah and Nazir are next to each other, and the Mefarshim explain why are they taught with each other? Because who's the Nazir? A Nazir is a guy who says, I want to be extra holy. and he makes sure that he doesn't that he doesn't drink wine, and kind of separates himself from the world a little bit. But he also has to grow out his hair very long. And the Gemara says what got him to become a Nazir? He witnessed the whole situation that took place with the Sotah, and he said, "Oh my God, if this is what can happen, there could be an adulterous woman." And he sees the whole process of her uncovering her hair and drinking the special potion. And if we go back to that potion as well, when they sinned with the Arayot back in Egel HaZahav, also they're grinding down the Egel and drinking a potion, also reminding you back of the story of the Sotah. But here, when the Nazir looks at the woman and says, "Oh my God, I don't want this to happen to me. Look what alcohol does." He takes an oath that he's not going to drink, and he's going to try to act like a super Kohen, but he's not a Kohen. He has to grow out his hair long. One of the halachot we saw by Levi when Moshe shaves their head, and we see by the Kohen also has a law that his hair can't be too long. The Nazir has to grow his hair long, because on the one hand he's saying he's very holy. On the other hand, he's not a Kohen. By the wife going out there, uncovering her hair, in a certain sense, she's showing the hair of a Nazir. My husband is not going to be the Kohen Gadol. He's not going to be Aharon. He's not even going to be a Nazir. She makes him drink, and he has to drink the alcohol, and he has to get drunk. So On Ben Pelet is drunk over there. She's uncovering her hair. I think there's a little bit of a hint of a Nazir in the background over here. If we go back to the whole Sota idea, I heard one last idea. This was from Eitan Feiner quoting the Arizal. I couldn't find it in the Arizal, but I think it's unbelievable. It's the cherry on top in the whole story. So there's a Gemara in Yoma Mem Zayin Amud Aleph, and it talks about a lady named Kimchit. And the Gemara tells us that this lady Kimchit had 7 sons, and she said all of them were Kohen Gadols. They all became Kohanim Gedolim, and she says, what was her zechut? Ma asit zechit lekach? They asked the rabbis asked her, how are you zocheh? How are you zocha to have 7 sons who are Kohanim Gedolim? So she responds to them, my whole life I was very strict, and I never let my hair see the walls of my house. She was so tsanua, she covered her hair even in her homes. Now the halacha is that when a woman is at home with her family, she doesn't have to cover her hair. But this Kimchit was extra strict on herself, and she covered her hair all the time, and all of her kids became Kohanim Gedolim. Now those that like Kabbalah, says the Arizal according to Rabbi Feiner, that Kimchit was a Gilgul, she was a reincarnation of On Ben Pelet's wife. On Ben Pelet's wife told her husband, you cannot be a Kohen. You can't even be a Nazir. Go drink your wine and go hang out over there. And part of the way she saved him, though, came with this Averah Lishma, was a sin for the sake of Shamayim, the sake of her husband, and it was good, but there was a little bit of an issue, because ultimately she uncovered her hair. Comes along On Ben Pelet's wife in a Gilgul, she gets reincarnated in this lady Kimchit. And now Kimchit is extra strict. She has to make a tikkun. She has to go way beyond the halacha. And she covers her hair even inside her home. On Ben Pelet's wife was outside uncovered. She's going to be inside covered. But that's going to make the proper tikkun. And now, maybe her husband couldn't be Kohen Gadol then, but now Kimchit's sons, each of them will be zocheh to be Kohanim Gedolim. Shabbat Shalom.